Thought I'd come down the other frontage road today, and this is a line of privets that our fence for the backyard is on the other side. And so I'm walking down the hill there, and privets, we had them the whole length here on this side of the property, and then the frontage road on the other side of the property. When we bought it, they were so tall that they were up into the wires, which is not good. Even though that's not high voltage wires, it's still not good. And so we had some people come out, tree people come out, and we had them cut them to the ground. Privets is not something that I would go out and plant in my native yard. It's not something that, it's not a native plant. It's an invasive plant here. The seeds go everywhere, and of course the birds eat them and they poop them out, and we have more little privets coming up all over the place. I would not plant these here, but because they were here, at least on this side, at the other side of the property, we took them out. But at least because they're here and they do give us privacy there at the fence line, we decided to keep them. And when we first moved in, like I said, they were so tall, they were up into the wires, and this was a very dark street to walk down, so it sort of looked like something out of a Halloween movie, and the kids were kind of nervous with the trees so tall and the shadows and dark. But when we cut them to the ground, it was interesting. The response we got from people walking by, they're like, wow, what did you do? You killed the trees, which of course we didn't do. They said, don't you feel exposed? Everybody can see into your yard. Well, it's not like this is a highly trafficked area. We don't have a lot of people, and this is the backyard. They weren't looking into the house. But yeah, you feel exposed when you cut these trees down to the ground, and the fence is just, wire fence that you can see right through. And that's art. Art is leaving ourselves out there exposed for the entire world to see. And boy, that takes a kind of bravery to do that, to put yourself out there so everybody can see you. And so how do we do that? How do we be brave enough to expose ourselves in our art and show who we really are as artists? It's a hard thing to do. But when I cut these trees down, it's an interesting thing that happened. We did it in the spring 2 years ago, and next year it'll be time to do them again. When they started to grow, the deer thought this was awesome because there was all this new growth for them to nibble on. Oh, and the other thing that happened, the reason we cut them down was because they weren't bushy like this. All you saw were bare trunks, and then all the bushy parts were way up high. So we cut them down to the ground, and they started to sprout, and the deer thought this was just a feast for them. We were just putting all that food out there for them at their level, and they kept nibbling on it and cutting things back. And then these bushed out, and they grew to a nice, this is a nice height. Next spring we'll probably cut them down again. We've done it, twice now, but everything fills in. And what happens when they get filled in like this, the bushes, the birds, this is amazing cover for the birds. I come out here in the summer and there is so much songbird activity. I mean, even now the birds, the spotted towhees love these, and they are in and out of here all the time, as well as the regular towhees. But because it's so thick, it's safe. It's a safe place for them, and they know it's safe. And I'm going to do this again and again and again to make sure we have these bushy privets that are not my favorite plant in the world, although they are good for eco-printing. I'm going to make sure that I have them available for the birds, because it makes them feel safe. And don't we need to find the same kind of space for us when we're creating? Car going by. We need to find our safe spot. You don't want to create in a place where you don't feel safe. I used to go, many years ago, I used to go to a collage workshop, and the whole point of the workshop was just to go hang out with other people that love playing with paper. And so that's what we would do. We would hang out and we would talk, and we weren't trying to make art as much as we were trying to make relationships. There's a dog going by, so he's always very excited. And over the years, I've joined various art groups, some of which worked really well for me, and some of them not so much. Because the groups where I didn't feel safe were not groups that I wanted to hang out with. They weren't groups that made me want to create. They weren't groups that made me feel like I could be the best artist I wanted to be. And sometimes that feel of safety comes from, where you are at home. Maybe your home studio, you leave your house and you walk out to the garage where you have your craft space set up, and that's your safe spot. Maybe you have a corner of the dining room table, and that's where you create, and that's your safe spot. But you have to surround yourself with people that are going to help you feel safe too. And a lot of us continue to hang around with people in toxic groups that don't support us. And I did that for so long, and I don't want you to do that. I want you to think about the relationships you have that are supportive, and those are the ones to nurture, because those are the ones that are going to let you see your creativity just rise to the top. They're going to be so happy for everything you accomplish. They're going to cheer you on. Even when you make something that you think is absolute dog doo-doo, they're going to go, wow, look at this, is something you haven't done before. Look at how you're branching out into new areas. And you can't do that in a toxic environment. You can't do that if people are comparing you to somebody else and finding you lacking. You can't do that. You can't grow as an artist if you are not in a safe place. And so if you don't have a safe place, think about what a safe place might look like for you. Think about your ideal safe spot. For me, I'm lucky that I'm living in my dream home that we're renovating over time, over many, many years and many, many dollars. And I was able to create my studio space from scratch. And I have a supportive relationship with my husband, who thinks I'm awesome no matter what I do, whether I create art or not. So I have a safe spot. I didn't always. I remember what it was like not to feel safe. And man, it's hard to be creative if you don't feel safe. You can't be brave when you don't feel safe. So how do you get to that safe spot? Well, sometimes you just have to create it in your mind. I hope you all have a safe spot to create. And I hope that you find relationships that are supportive to you, so that you can be brave and go out and create something absolutely amazing. Because I know you have it in you. I know you have it in you. I know I have it in me. And when I forget, when I start to doubt myself, I have to stop and think, do I not feel safe right now? What about this situation doesn't feel safe? And sometimes it's just because I'm trying something brand new, and that can make it feel a little unsafe. And so I just need to remember, I've done brand new things before and come out the other side. Sometimes it's wonderful and sometimes it's not. But I survived. The world is not going to end if I ruin a piece of paper. You got that? The world is not going to end if my art does not work out the way I planned. Yeah, that takes a lot of pressure off the shoulders. So go out and be brave in your art. That's what I'm going to try and do. I'll talk to you later.